Ego thoughts. I didn't want to have to do this, but y'all made me. Shakur Stevenson exposed. In this video, I'm going to break it down like I always do, and I'll show y'all receipts why I feel Shakur Stevenson has been exposed regarding a Tank Davis fight. So buckle up, stay tuned to the end of the video, and I'm going to break it down. Before I get started, if you dig the content after I present this case and you gained any value from the video, make sure you guys subscribe. Also, I got to start by saying this. I didn't want to have to do this, but y'all made me. I told you, I am a grown man. I do grown man things. Shakur has a fight lined up. Tank has a fight lined up. Shakur is fighting Floyd Schofield, February 22nd, Riyadh season. Solid fight, even though I don't think Floyd Schofield has shown video, but you guys have forced my hand because I've already put out a video where I was kind of talking about this. You got Tank haters who are so desperate to hate on the man that they're making up narratives, and if you're foolish enough to not know what's going on, or you're naive enough, then you're going to be confused and you're going to be like, oh man, Tank doesn't want to fight Shakur. So again, in this video, I'm going to break it down and show you how Shakur Stevenson is exposed in regards to fighting Tank Davis. Now, speaking of Tank Lamont Roach, Tank had a press conference with Lamont Roach in New York, and he came late or whatever. Everyone made a big deal about that. And Steven Espinoza was clearly there because he's part of the team that's organizing the fight. And he was asked by media outlets about Shakur fight for whatever reason, right? Steven Espinoza, he explained that there were correspondence with Shakur's team in order to make a fight with Tank and Lomachenko, which we already knew. Everybody knew the Lomachenko said, I'm not ready right now, blah, blah, blah. And that fight fell apart. There was no real reason outside of personal reasons for Lomachenko to not take a Tank Davis fight. It would probably be a career high payday. It's a fight people wanted to see. And you guys are both champions, so it would have been a unification. So we can't fault Tank or his side, Amazon Prime, PBC, for that fight not happening. Then another fight with El Rayo. Robert Garcia, the trainer of El Rayo, told you that El Rayo was not going to be available because he was basically burnt out. He had a long 5-month camp for the Pitbull fight. He emerged victorious and he needs time to rest. And he wanted to dictate the weight, which you can't really do when you're not the A side. You can't say, oh, fight me at my preferred weight division. El Rayo is a career 135 pounder. Just because he did the Pitbull fight and became a champion at 140, that's that. But if the A side says fight at this division, you kind of got to do what the A side says. Moving on to Shakur Stevenson. So Steven Espinoza was telling the audience that, hey, to the people who are hating on the Lamont Roach fight, this was not a straight path. This was not from point A to B where Lamont Roach by any stretch was the first choice for Tank. We were trying to organize the event, and I've already went over some of the candidates and potential options, and they all didn't work for various reasons, right? So Steven Espinoza is making that abundantly clear that Lamont Roach wasn't the intended target, but he's the one that was available. He's the one that was ready. They can make a good fight out of it. They have an amateur backstory, so that's the fight that got made. So in regards to Shakur Stevenson, Espinoza, formerly of Showtime, stated that they were in talks to fight Shakur Stevenson. The reason the fight fell apart was because Shakur Stevenson was fresh out of his Top Rank deal, and he's a free agent, and he was looking for more of a long-term situation, whereas PBC, their cash cow is Canelo and Tank. So that's the investment. They've invested for years in a guy like Gervonta Davis and others like Errol Spence. So, you know, that's kind of who their allegiance is to. So they wanted to do a one-fight deal similar to Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford, and there would probably be a rematch clause in there. But Espinoza, as he says it, Shakur wanted more. He wanted like more of a mapped out plan of what his future holds beyond the one fight. So that looks a little bit weird in general, because one, if you beat Tank, you would probably get, more money in the rematch, and there probably would be a rematch because they would definitely have a rematch clause, just like Tank had a rematch clause in the event if he were to lose to Ryan Garcia. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, Shakur Stevenson, he literally probably could have got 2 fights out of it if and only if he beat Tank. So if you're confident, like Shakur says he is, that he can beat Tank, then it seems like you would take the deal, right? Because Ryan Garcia had no rematch clause. So in the event that he lost, which he did to Tank, he had no option. Tank, being the A side, had a one-way rematch clause. So if he were to lose, which he didn't, to Ryan Garcia, he can exercise a rematch within a certain amount of time, right? And that's kind of how it works. So if you were really confident that you would whoop up Tank and beat him and nobody's on your level and you're the best lightweight, why not take your chances and take a leap of faith, if you will, and rock with that, even if it's a one-fight deal? Because guess what? Terrence Crawford, he did it, and he beat Errol Spence, and he ran off on the plug twice, right? He ran off on the plug, and then he was free to go, and he did that, and he fought Madrimov with Turkey in Riyadh season. So you could be in the same position where if you beat Tank, your stock clearly would go up, and you can either A, get a rematch clause if Tank elected to do a rematch, or you would be free like Terrence Crawford if a rematch doesn't manifest, like the Errol Spence fight didn't manifest a rematch, an immediate rematch, and then Errol Spence and Crawford left, and then Crawford just did his own thing. So Shakur could have did that. So why would Shakur not take it even on a one-fight basis? Inquiring minds want to know. But you have buffoons and content creators and fans who hate Tank so much that they want to recycle these talking points, saying that Tank don't want to fight nobody. Tank is afraid of this guy and that guy. This is probably why Gervonta Davis said, boxing is trash. Boxing is trash. You guys want me to fight everybody, but then you don't hold other people to the standard, which is absolutely true. This is also why Tank likely snapped when a reporter said, hey, what about Shakur Stevenson? Are you scared of Shakur Stevenson? And he was more so dismissive. And Tank was like, why do y'all keep asking me about this man, Shakur Stevenson? What has he done? What has he done in boxing and in this division or whatever, to the point where you guys keep mentioning him every time, right? He's like, Keyshawn, the little bro, been looking better in his fights than Shakur has. So what are we talking about? And, people are like, oh, man, it's a duck. You sound stupid. How can a fighter be ducking a fighter when the whole purpose of this video is to illustrate how Tank's side offered a one-fight deal to Shakur and his team or him or whatever said no? So where's the duck? Second, you can't duck a fighter when both fighters are occupied and booked up and they have obligations contractually that they must get past. So where's the duck? Tank is contracted to fight Lamont Roach, and Shakur's fighting Floyd Schofield. And Shakur has a 2-fight deal with Eddie Hearn. He didn't fulfill the first fight, which was supposed to be Joe Cordina, because he picked up an injury. So again, fans and content creators who are saying Tank duck, you sound stupid. And I'm breaking it down. Why? Why did Shakur not take a one-fight deal and take his chances if he thought he could beat Tank Davis? Especially since Shakur is on record saying that Tank is the A side and he calls the shots. So if the shots is a one-fight deal that they're offering you, that's your gateway in. Since we know you haven't done any sales like him, Tank has over 1 million pay-per-view buys in the Ryan Garcia fight. You have nothing like that. You've never sold the type of sales he's doing and live gates and stuff. It's not even comparable. Tank has a $20 million plus gate. Shakur's never done that. Shakur's never been on pay-per-view. Again, beggars can't be choosers. But I know some of you guys, even though everything I've said has been facts, some of you guys are still scratching your head. Okay, Ego, you're making a lot of great points, but what about Shakur being exposed? I'm glad you asked. So the day this came out and Steven Espinoza stated that Shakur wanted a long-term deal, Shakur Stevenson basically took to social media and said this was all lies. He said, now that people have fights lined up, they're lying on my name, roughly. And I'll show you some of the tweets that he put out. He says, not gonna lie, the lies are getting out of hand. I wanted what? This don't even make sense, Steven Espinoza. Ninja, I'm the B-side. I don't get to ask for another fight. So he's claiming that Steven Espinoza is lying. So keep that in your brain, right? Soon as ninjas announce fights, they start making up ish, and then it gets worse when it comes from the higher up people, right? So keep playing along with me. Pause. Shakur Stevenson then goes on to say, fake story they made up to make they side look good, and they have fans running around pushing a false agenda. From what I had heard, ninjas told me the fight wasn't ready yet. They was gonna spin the block next year, as in 2025. I just didn't blast the ish because that ish is lame. So he's claiming that they said the fight wasn't ready or whatever, and they were gonna spin the block in 2025. But look, I gotta smoke Kitty Austin and Auntie Sko. That's my focus right now. So you see, he's like changing the subject, right? Shakur goes on to say, then they know these people will believe anything you sell them, especially when they want to believe that ish, right? All I could do is laugh at this goofy ish. Now, here's the part where Shakur gets totally and completely exposed. A fan said, ninjas on here calling Boots a duck for not moving up to fight Virgil Ortiz on a one-fight deal. PBC offered Shakur the Tank fight and only the Tank fight, and now y'all flipping it on Tank, saying they should have offered multiple fights, right? Shakur seen this tweet and he responded, I know you want to believe that ish, but I never got no offer. That man is lying through his teeth. Crying emoji. But for your agenda, keep pushing it, my guy. Just so we're all clear, because I told you I would show you receipts. Let me read it one more time. And this is what I want you to focus on. Really, the first sentence. I know you want to believe that ish, but I never got no offer. That man is lying through his teeth. So he's saying Steven Espinoza is lying through his teeth and he never got an offer. You've seen it on the screen. Now, roll the clip.
Up to that fight, did you ever agree to face Gervonta Davis? Was there discussions at all with PBC or anyone else about making that fight?
As far as I know, yes, it was discussions. We reached. I thought they reached out, and then we responded back and said we want to fight. From there, we ain't really hit too much or nothing after that. But like I said, I already know at the end of the day, that fight is gonna happen. Fans just gotta wait until whenever Tank say the fight is gonna happen. He the A side.
So that was a recent interview from Shakur Stevenson. Now make it make sense. Shakur just put, and I told you, the most dangerous thing is a camera and a microphone in this internet. Fighters are using social media and they're acting like there's no consequences to that. They're acting like they're not leaving a paper trail. The funny thing about Boxing Ego is I've been making money online since the dawn of time, right? I use the internet and then I'm off it, right? For my business. And the funny thing is you can't find videos. Notice if people say whatever they want about me, right? But if you notice, there's nobody that does a compilation video of stupidity that Boxing Ego said publicly that was all false, and I was contradicting myself constantly. Nobody's ever done like a mashup compilation video of that. You know why? Because they can't. There's not. I know what I say because I'm there when I say it, and I choose my words wisely, so it never comes back to bite me. You know, sure, I'll get a fight prediction wrong, but we all get fight predictions wrong. I'm talking about, you know, the core subject matter and also the main messaging in my videos is very consistent. I'm the king of consistency and the best in the business, and it's not even close. So I just showed you. Shakur literally said, I know you want to believe that, but I never got no offer. The man Espinoza is lying through his teeth. But then he's on tape saying he got an offer, and he said, at first he said, I think I reached out. And then he's like, no, they reached out to me. Which one is it? How can you say you got no offer and then say they reached out to you and then blah, blah, blah? So you're calling Steven Espinoza a liar. Again, use a little bit of conventional wisdom. Why would Steven Espinoza need to lie? He's not the fighter. So it's no skin off his back, you know? It doesn't hurt him per se because he's not the fighter. So it doesn't really hurt him if the public views it as a duck or not. You know, he's an executive. So you got to think about that. And then furthermore, Shakur literally said, you want to believe what you want to believe. And I know you want to believe what you want to believe, whatever narrative, because they're putting out fallacies, but I never got no offer. But you're on tape saying you got an offer. It's over. It's done. End of conversation. So at some point you misspoke. Either you got an offer or you didn't. Those two things can't exist. You can't say, oh, they never gave me an offer. You said they reached out to you and we were in talks, but then now you're saying there was no offer in a short period of time. So again, I'll let you guys pick up the pieces and try to make this make sense and continue to flip it and blame it on Tank's side and call Tank a duck. It doesn't make sense. The other thing you have to analyze is Shakur Stevenson. If you listen to the end of that audio, he was basically saying they reached out to me to try to make a fight, and then he claims they never heard back from him or whatever, right? But at the end of that snippet, he says, don't worry, the fight between me and Tank will happen. Now, put your thinking caps on, people. If Shakur Stevenson did not get an offer, why did he say he got an offer? That's one question. But two, with your thinking cap still on, why would he then say the fight will happen in the future? If what Steven Espinoza is saying is a lie and what Shakur is saying is true, why would he have confidence that the fight will still happen if they never sent you an offer or gave you the runaround? Where would this confidence come from that you can make the fight? So realistically, it sounds like what Steven Espinoza said made a ton of sense. And the reason there's a confidence from Shakur Stevenson that the fight will happen in the future is because he elected to try to go get money with Eddie Hearn and Turki Al-Sheikh, do a 2-fight deal, and then he'll revisit it. But he wanted to get his money up. You have to understand this because Tank, money ain't no thing. Like Jermaine Dupri and Jay-Z. In a Ferrari, a Jaguar, switching 4 lanes with the top down, screaming out, money ain't a thing. Bubble hard in the double law, flash a ring. Yup, it's perfect. You know, Tank been making money. He got 1 million+ pay-per-view, so you know he ate off of the Ryan Garcia fight. You dig? So Shakur, who knows what kind of money he was making with Top Rank, because their pay scale is not the same as what Tank was getting. So you know Tank has been taken care of and compensated for his ability. So to be honest, what it sounds like to me is you were in the deal with Top Rank. You didn't like it towards the end. You didn't really get the fights that you wanted. and then Turkey and them is handing out free money. Overpriced fighters are getting paid, like fighters who can't really sell, and Turkey is overpaying higher than their market value, right? Like, you guys, some people are going to take this the wrong way, and that's good. Take it as wrong as you want. I don't care. Merry Christmas. But Better Biev and Bivol, although it's a good fight for hardcore boxing fans, if you put that in Vegas, it's not going to sell. It's not going to sell no crazy numbers. You know, you're not going to do, put it this way. Would Better Biev Bivol 1 or 2, the rematch or the first one, if you put that in Vegas, is it going to outsell a fight between Tank and Ryan Garcia? Absolutely not. Point blank, period. So that's what's happening. Riyadh season, they have bread, they got money, and they're willing to waste it and spend it on fighters who they really can't get a ROI. So for whatever reason, they're trying to build an attraction and entertainment and sports in Saudi Arabia to the point where they're dumping money. And that's what it sounds like. It sounds like Shakur is like, man, I'm gonna go over there. Because if you did the one fight deal with Tank, if you lose, that's a once and done. Your career is in a tough spot. So it actually makes more sense from a business side for Shakur to move like this, because Tank is known to knock people out. And if he beats you or knocks you out, then your career is in a very delicate spot, because you haven't really fought the names that people want to see you fight. You've never been on pay-per-view. So if you did a one-off with PBC, you would have to win it because the stakes would be that great. Like Tank, he could, like, even if Tank, first of all, let's be real with the boxing talk. If Shakur beat Tank, if he beat him, most people would probably suggest that would be by just outboxing him. So Tank probably wouldn't get embarrassed in the way of like getting bodied and knocked out. If Shakur didn't knock out guys like Artem Harutyunyan coming off of a loss, and he couldn't knock out Edwin De Los Santos, and he fought negative in some of those fights when he fought awkward guys and punching power guys, I mean, conventional wisdom, I would say he's not knocking Tank out. At best, he would try to be evasive and, you know, pick his shots on Tank and then try to outbox him. So really the threat level is more so for Shakur, because again, worst case scenario, even if Tank got outboxed, he's already done $1 million plus with Ryan Garcia. He's already been on pay-per-view since the Leo Santa Cruz fight. It's Shakur that if he were to get knocked out like Frank Martin per se, he would be a guy who had been on one pay-per-view with Tank and then got knocked out. And then it would be hard to get back on pay-per-view with Shakur's style. So you guys can keep saying Tank is ducking and afraid and all that stuff, but the business is the business. And to me, it makes more sense for Shakur as a businessman to have went this way, to get overpaid to fight Floyd Schofield. And, you know, I like Shakur's chances. If you had to pick who's more dangerous to Shakur, Floyd Schofield he don't even have like 20 fights yet. He don't even have 15 fights. So Floyd Schofield or Joe Cordina and those types of fights that you'll probably fight with Riyadh season or with Eddie Hearn are less threatening than a Tank Davis. So I can understand from a business point of view, if you fight Tank on a one-off scenario, it's a once and done potentially. If he wins, then that's going to hurt you majorly. Just like look at Devin's career since the Ryan Garcia fight. You know, some of these big fights, it really sets you back. You know, and Shakur, his brand and his personality has rubbed people the wrong way. So again, I need you guys to make it make sense. Shakur is claiming that he never received an offer, but I just let you listen to tape of him saying that he did get an offer. So those two things can't be true. Let me know what you guys think. I told you I was going to expose this whole situation, so stop asking me about it. We unpacked.